My dad left when I was 6 months old. He doesn't really consider me his daughter. I came to Chardon and I had a really bad attitude. I was kind of a bad girl.
My mom and my dad are divorced. When I get depressed, sometimes I call myself.
Well, some of the toughest challenges I've faced was one, trying to commit suicide about 7 times. Getting beat by my parents, both of them, and some by my brother, because my brother thought it was okay.
Our students come from very difficult backgrounds and challenges and special needs, and for some of them, just showing up to school regularly is a monumental task.
Me and my dad, we talk, but he just now starting to come back into my life. I always used to think wow, my mama would never be on drugs. So I sit back every night and I pray for her and make sure that she would be better. Because sometimes I would have dreams about my mama dying and I would have to wake up out my sleep just to go see if she's alive.
I'm the second oldest of 6 kids by my mother, so for a while my dad wasn't around. She had to take care of us, and we really didn't have too much of nothing. Smoking weed, robbing people, a lot of things that was against God's will, having sex. I got sentenced 2 years in prison. Even as a juvenile, I had all kinds of domestic violences, and I got caught with guns.
My mom's husband was a drunk. He raped me once and then molested me for 4 to 5 years afterwards. As time went by, I would try to barricade my door. I was so scared of him, telling me I had to be quiet, or he'd hurt me, or he'd hurt my mom, or I'd never see her again.
At Lincoln West High School, I observed 2 female students who were in the 10th grade. Had a reputation of being troublemakers and not doing well in their classes. These 2 young ladies really turned around the end of their 10th grade year, and I attribute that to the City Life program.
Crave it's the Campus Life program in Chardon. That's where I go every Wednesday night. This guy named Reggie Dabbs came to my high school, and we all had to go in for the assembly. He told me, he's like, you need to let God in, because if you don't, then you're always gonna feel alone, because he's the one who's always gonna make you feel good about yourself. He's never gonna let you go, because he loves you. And I did. And I got Reggie to sign my Bible, and I have read it every night since. And the night I accepted Christ into my life, I'll know the exact date for the rest of my life. November 7th, 2011.
When I first met Christ, it was at Camp Patmos. That's when I first really accepted him into my heart. I learned at camp that Jesus will always love me, and he's the only one that's my way to heaven.
After my dad was sentenced to 3 years in prison, I heard about Campus Life somehow, and I ended up going, and I just felt really accepted and loved by everyone who was there, and they really brought me in as one of their own. I was like their adopted son. And I hung out with them, and they really got me locked in godly settings with godly people and in a church.
Some of these students, they don't really have that connection with nobody. Won't nobody sit back and actually talk to them. If a kid got a problem, Sellers or Cap or Johnny or one of them, they would come up to the school, they would sit down and talk to the children.
Me and a lot of my friends, we all joined the team. We was playing basketball for the team and stuff. always once a week, we'd have to have a Bible study. It was mandatory. If you ain't show up, you ain't playing, pretty much. Because I was out there doing a lot of dirt, so it was really getting me every time I go do something. The next day we go to Bible study, and then it's like, wow, man, like, it had me like be tearing up on the inside. Actually, Johnny, you know, on Sundays, can he take me to church with him? You know, he's like, oh, really, Joe, you want to go to church? I'm like, yeah, just pick me up. I'm like, yeah. So no problem. So for a couple weeks, I started going to church, you know, straight, just faithfully going to church. But at the same time, as soon as I get out of church, you know, I'm smoking weed, you know, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, you know, breaking the law. And then eventually I end up getting arrested for committing a crime. You know, the crime I was sentenced for 2 years for.
I started going to Youth for Christ City Life, and that's where I got into God's Word.
I got involved with the church even a lot better, and it kind of got me to have a better relationship with God.
At camp, I was voted as the Radical Christian of the Week, being all for Christ.
God was really speaking to me, you know, really rebuked me while I was in there and put me in my place, you know. So, you know, I told him, you know, Lord, you know, if this is what you want for me to, you know, do right, then I just want to do right then. You know, I'm tired of running, you know what I'm saying? Because, of course, you're going to catch me. You're faster than me. You created speed.
Since I accepted Christ into my life, I have felt a lot happier.
I've had great times with Youth for Christ, all the trips that I've been able to go on with them. It really brought Jesus more into my heart every time I went on one of those trips.
Everybody here has a purpose, and he's everything, and he's the purpose.
If I didn't have Christ in my life right now, I'd probably either be in juvenile detention or I would be trying to still kill myself.
She started to meet real Christian people who could show her Jesus and the way to be. And over the years, I've noticed a marked difference in her behavior, and when she finally accepted Jesus into her own heart for herself, the difference in her life was amazing.
I have a friend named Nature, and she really is depressed and she cuts herself. So what I try to do, I will share my testimony with her about cutting myself and my depression and how I met the Lord and how it's good to have the Lord as your father in your heart. She's going to church with me, to the church I go.
Regular people, that knew me before and see me now, they're like, wow, like he's really about Jesus, you know. I thank Jesus for forgiveness, for saving a wretch like me.
I really want to thank City Life and Youth for Christ. Even though I go through my struggles, I find City Life and Youth for Christ as a part of healing for me.
Like Apostle Paul said, while we were still sinners, Christ died for us, so, that shows me, God's love, and I just thank him for everything. I love everything about him.
I would like to go out and preach about God's word and how he died for us in the cross and gave up his life for us.
I see a strong leader, and I'm just glad that God got a hold of your heart, because I know that if the enemy would have gotten a hold of your heart, how he could have done horrible things with that.
I want to be a lawyer. I want to go, and I want to go to school, and I want to get my degrees, and I want to get all the information I need, and I'm going to nail every man who's ever hurt a kid like that.
To have a program like City Life is just a boost to help these students with survival skills and skills to help them succeed in life.
I've been there. I walked those shoes. I walked those streets. I cried them same tears. And once you realize that, and once the kids realize that, you know what, this ain't just a brother that's from the outside coming down to drop some dimes or just to, touch a small area of my life, but this brother really cares about what I'm going through. And because he cares, he's willing to get his hands dirty.